Here are a few lies you tell yourself every day. 1. Next year for sure, I'll totally have my life together. The sweet siren song of next year, that irresistible tune that's been playing on a loop in our heads since, well, last year. We've all been there, haven't we? Promising ourselves that the next 365 days will be the ones where we finally get our act together, only to find ourselves right back where we started, humming the same old tune. It's the anthem of the chronically hopeful, the battle cry of the eternally optimistic. I'm going to start that new diet on Monday. I'll finally clean out the garage this weekend. Next year, I'm going to learn a new language, start a business, and win the lottery. Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. We're like a broken record, stuck on repeat, playing the same old song over and over again. Next year is going to be my year, we declare, as we toss another unfinished project into the ever-growing pile of unfulfilled dreams. It's the mantra of the perpetual procrastinator, the battle cry of the chronically indecisive. Well, my friends, the time has come to face the music. Because let's be real, if next year has been on repeat longer than your favorite song, it's time to admit that you might just be your own worst enemy. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, the greatest obstacle to living is expectation, which depends upon the future. And boy, do we love to live in that future, don't we? We're constantly telling ourselves that next year will be the year we finally achieve our goals, lose that weight, or start that business. But the truth is, the only moment we have is right now. The Stoics believed that the key to happiness and fulfillment lies in our ability to focus on the present moment, to embrace the reality of our current circumstances, and to take action accordingly. As Marcus Aurelius so eloquently put it, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. So instead of waiting for the mythical next year to arrive, why not start making changes today? As the Stoic Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We may not be able to control the circumstances of our lives, but we can certainly control how we respond to them. Seneca reminds us, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult. It's time to start daring to make the changes we've been putting off. As Marcus Aurelius said, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Let's start thinking differently, taking action, and stop letting next year be the excuse for our inaction. Remember, as Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So let's start reacting in a way that moves us forward, that helps us grow, and that allows us to finally make this year the one where we stop lying to ourselves and start living our best lives. 2. Happiness is just around the corner. Once I hit that milestone, everything will fall into place. The eternal quest for happiness, the holy grail that we're all chasing, the carrot dangling just out of reach. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I find the perfect partner. I'll be happy when I finally lose those last 10 pounds. Sound familiar? We're all guilty of it, aren't we? Treating happiness like a destination, a prize to be won, rather than a state of being to be cultivated and nurtured. It's the age-old trap that we fall into time and time again, convinced that if we can just check off that one last item on our happiness to-do list, then the clouds will part, the angels will sing, and we'll finally be able to bask in the warm glow of true contentment. We're like a bunch of happiness-seeking missiles, constantly recalibrating our coordinates, convinced that the next target will be the one that finally brings us the elusive joy we crave. But alas, my friends, the reality is that happiness is not a destination, but a journey, a winding path that we must navigate with patience, resilience, and a healthy dose of self-awareness. It's not something that can be achieved through the acquisition of material possessions, the attainment of professional accolades, or the pursuit of physical perfection. No, happiness is a state of being that must be cultivated from within, a delicate balance of gratitude, self-acceptance, and a willingness to embrace the present moment. Well, my friends, the time has come to confront the lies we tell ourselves when it comes to happiness, and to start embracing the truth that it is a state of being that we can access right here, right now. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And when it comes to happiness, this couldn't be more true. We're so often caught up in the pursuit of external validation, of ticking off the boxes on our life's checklist, that we forget to focus on the one thing that truly matters, our own inner state of being. The Stoics believed that true happiness and fulfillment come not from achieving some elusive goal or attaining a specific outcome, but from our ability to control our thoughts, emotions, and reactions to the world around us. As Marcus Aurelius so eloquently put it, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." So, instead of constantly telling ourselves that we'll be happy when something happens, why not start focusing on being happy right now? As the Stoic Seneca reminds us, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. The truth is, happiness is not a destination, but a state of mind, one that we have the power to cultivate and nurture regardless of our external circumstances. And let's not forget the wise words of the Stoic Epictetus, who said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Perhaps the key to true happiness lies not in chasing after more and more, but in learning to appreciate and find joy in the present moment, in the simple things that we often take for granted. So, my friends, let's stop telling ourselves the lie that happiness is something we have to earn or achieve, and start embracing the truth that it is a state of being that we can access right here, right now. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Let's start making our thoughts work for us rather than against us, and watch as the path to true, lasting happiness begins to unfold before us. 3. I'm just not cut out for this. Why even bother trying? Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a bustling city, surrounded by towering skyscrapers and a sea of people, all connected to the vast network of the internet through their smartphones and devices. It's a remarkable feat of technology, isn't it? Information and knowledge are quite literally at our fingertips, waiting to be accessed and absorbed. But what if I told you that intelligence itself operates in a similar fashion? A vast, ever-present network that we all have the potential to tap into if only we knew how. We've all been there, feeling like we're just not smart enough, like our brains are somehow deficient or lacking in that special something that makes people truly intelligent. But what if that's nothing more than a lie we tell ourselves, a self-imposed limitation that holds us back from reaching our full potential? The ancient philosophers understood this concept well. Aristotle, the great thinker of antiquity, once said, "The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet." Intelligence, like education, requires effort and perseverance, but the rewards are immeasurable. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Our journey towards intelligence starts with a simple decision. The decision to embrace the truth that intelligence is not a fixed trait, but a skill that can be cultivated and nurtured through practice and perseverance. And let's not forget the words of Confucius, who said, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." Intelligence is a lifelong pursuit, a journey that requires patience and determination, but one that is infinitely rewarding. The truth is, intelligence is not a fixed commodity, but a dynamic process that ebbs and flows, expands and contracts, depending on the effort we put into it. Just as a Wi-Fi network requires a compatible device and a strong signal, intelligence requires a receptive mind and a willingness to learn and grow. So the next time you find yourself doubting your intelligence, remember the words of these great thinkers. Remember that your thoughts shape your reality, and that the lie that you're not smart enough is nothing more than a self-imposed limitation. Embrace the truth that intelligence is everywhere, and that you have the power to connect to it. One thought, one action, one step at a time. 4. I swear, tomorrow I'll get serious. Today's my last chill day. The familiar siren song of procrastination. Today's the last day I relax. It's a tune we've all danced to at one point or another, swaying to the rhythm of laziness and indulgence. We wake up with the best of intentions, vowing to tackle our tasks and embrace productivity. But then, like a skilled seductress, procrastination whispers sweet nothings in our ears, luring us back into the comforting embrace of the couch. It's a cycle that repeats itself time and time again, a never-ending waltz with the mistress of delay. We convince ourselves that tomorrow will be different, that we'll finally summon the willpower to break free from her alluring grasp and embark on a new, disciplined path. But then, tomorrow comes and the dance begins anew. The ancient philosophers understood the perils of procrastination and the importance of self-discipline. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "Well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself." His words remind us that true fulfillment is not achieved through grand gestures or sudden bursts of motivation, but through consistent, incremental effort. Musonius Rufus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, echoed this sentiment with his simple yet profound advice. If you want to be a writer, write. It's a call to action, a reminder that our dreams and aspirations are not mere fantasies, but tangible goals that require us to take the first step, and then the next, and the next, without falling prey to the allure of endless procrastination. And let's not forget the wisdom of Pythagoras, the ancient Greek philosopher and mathematician, who said, "Awake to the truth that you are the babe of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here." His words remind us that we are not mere spectators in this life, but active participants with the power to shape our destinies and pursue our passions, if only we have the courage to break free from the shackles of procrastination. The truth is, procrastination is a seductive mistress, whispering sweet nothings in our ears and lulling us into a false sense of complacency. But the longer we indulge in her embrace, the harder it becomes to break free and reclaim our productivity, our purpose, and our sense of fulfillment. 5. I'm too old or too young for this shit. Why even try? The age-old lie we tell ourselves. I'm too old or too young for this. It's a familiar refrain that echoes through the halls of our minds, a self-imposed limitation that seeks to confine our dreams and aspirations within the arbitrary boundaries of age. But let's be real here, my friend. Age is nothing more than a number, a mere statistic that society has imbued with far too much significance. It's a lie we tell ourselves, a convenient excuse to stay within the confines of our comfort zones, to avoid taking risks and embracing the unknown. We've all been there, haven't we? That moment when a brilliant idea strikes, or an opportunity for adventure presents itself, only to be quickly dismissed with a wave of the hand and a muttered, I'm too old or too young for that. It's a self-imposed barrier, a way of avoiding the discomfort of growth and change, of settling for the familiar and the safe, rather than embracing the unknown and the extraordinary. The ancient philosophers understood the folly of such thinking. Cato the Elder, the Roman statesman and philosopher, famously said, "Wise men profit more from fools than fools from wise men, for the wise men avoid the course of the latter." His words remind us that true wisdom lies in daring to think differently, to embrace our individuality and pursue our passions, regardless of the arbitrary labels society tries to impose upon us. Diogenes, the renowned Cynic philosopher, echoed this sentiment when he proclaimed, "It is not that I am mad, it is only that my head is different from yours." His defiant words remind us that it is not madness to think differently, but rather a sign of strength and individuality. And let's not forget the wisdom of Hypatia, the brilliant mathematician and philosopher of ancient Alexandria, who said, "Reserve your right to think, for even to think wrongly is better than not to think at all." Her words are a call to action, a reminder that true fulfillment comes from daring to dream, to think, and to pursue our passions, regardless of the societal norms that seek to confine us. The truth is, age is a mere construct, a societal norm that we've allowed to dictate the boundaries of our lives. But the ancient sages understood that true wisdom and fulfillment come from embracing our individuality, from daring to think differently and pursue our passions, regardless of the arbitrary labels society tries to impose upon us. So, the next time you find yourself uttering the familiar lie, "I'm too old or too young for this," remember the words of the ancient philosophers. Remember that wise men profit more from fools than fools from wise men, for they have the courage to avoid the course of the latter. Remember that it is not madness to think differently, but rather a sign of individuality and strength. Reserve your right to think, to dream, and to pursue your passions, regardless of the arbitrary labels society tries to impose upon you. Embrace the truth that age is merely a number, and that your dreams and aspirations have no expiration date. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you to live life to the fullest, and who remind you that true wisdom and fulfillment come from daring to be different, to think differently, and to embrace the unknown with open arms. 6. Okay, seriously, this is absolutely, positively, definitely the last time I'm doing this. Probably, I think. This is the last time. We've all uttered those words, haven't we? Whether it's the last time we indulge in a guilty pleasure, the last time we procrastinate, or the last time we engage in a particular habit or behavior, we make these grand declarations as if the universe itself is taking notes on our resolutions. But let's be real here, my friend. More often than not, these last times are nothing more than empty promises we make to ourselves, a temporary salve for our guilt, or a fleeting moment of self-discipline that quickly fades into the ether of forgetfulness. We've all been there, haven't we? That moment when we find ourselves indulging in a behavior we know we should avoid, and in a desperate attempt to regain control, we declare with conviction, "This is the last time." It's a lie we tell ourselves, a way to assuage our conscience and convince ourselves that we're still in charge, even as we succumb to the very temptation we swore to resist. The ancient philosophers understood the folly of such empty promises. Panaetius, the renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, "The wise man is he who does not inconsiderately and in every case oppose the general practice." His words remind us that true wisdom lies not in blind opposition, but in a deep understanding of our place within the natural order of things. Chrysippus, another great Stoic thinker, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, The universe is a system of which all things are portions and all beings are fragments. His words remind us that we are all interconnected and that our actions have consequences that ripple throughout the cosmic web. And let's not forget the wisdom of Posidonius, the influential Stoic philosopher and scholar, who said, "The wise man is he who is not carried away by the crowd, but who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude." His words are a call to embrace our individuality, to resist the temptation to follow the herd, and to chart our own course through life. The truth is, the lie of "this is the last time" is a symptom of a deeper issue, our tendency to make grand declarations without truly committing to the change we seek. It's a form of self-deception, a way of convincing ourselves that we're in control, even as we continue to engage in the very behaviors we claim to abhor. The ancient sages understood that true self-discipline and personal growth come not from empty promises, but from a deep understanding of our place in the universe and a commitment to living in harmony with its principles. They recognized that the wise man is not one who blindly opposes the general practice, but rather one who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude and who seeks to align his actions with the natural order of things. So, the next time you find yourself uttering the familiar lie, "This is the last time," remember the words of the ancient philosophers. Remember that the universe is a system of which we are all fragments, and that true wisdom comes from understanding our place within that system, rather than making empty promises we have no intention of keeping. Embrace the truth that lasting change requires more than mere declarations. It demands a deep commitment to self-discipline and a willingness to align our actions with the principles that govern the natural order of things. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you to live in harmony with your values, and who hold you accountable to the promises you make to yourself. 7. I'm basically invincible. Nothing can touch me. I'm special. The allure of invincibility, that intoxicating feeling of being untouchable, immune to the perils and pitfalls that plague mere mortals. We've all been there, haven't we? Riding high on a wave of confidence, convinced that we're special, that we're somehow exempt from the laws of cause and effect that govern the universe. It's a seductive lie we tell ourselves, a delusion of grandeur that whispers sweet nothings in our ears, assuring us that we're invincible, that nothing bad can happen to us. I'm different, we think to ourselves. I'm the exception to the rule. But let's be real here, my friend. Even the mightiest of superheroes have their kryptonite moments, those instances when their powers falter and they're reminded of their own vulnerability. It's a humbling experience, one that serves as a stark reminder that no one, no matter how exceptional they may seem, is truly invincible. The ancient philosophers understood the folly of such delusions. Cleanthes, the renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, "The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires." His words remind us that true strength lies not in the pursuit of invincibility, but in the ability to temper our desires and live in harmony with the natural order of things. Heracles, another great Stoic thinker, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "The wise man is he who is not carried away by the crowd, but who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude." His words are a call to embrace our individuality, to resist the temptation to follow the herd, and to chart our own course through life with wisdom and humility. And let's not forget the wisdom of Arrian, the influential Stoic philosopher and historian, who said, "The wise man is he who does not inconsiderately and in every case oppose the general practice." His words remind us that true wisdom lies not in blind opposition, but in a deep understanding of our place within the natural order of things. The truth is, the lie of invincibility is a dangerous one, for it breeds complacency and a false sense of security. It lulls us into a state of hubris, convincing us that we're immune to the consequences of our actions, that we're somehow exempt from the natural order of things. The ancient sages understood that true wisdom and strength come not from a delusion of grandeur, but from a deep understanding of our place in the universe and a commitment to living in harmony with its principles. They recognized that the wise man is not one who blindly opposes the general practice, but rather one who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude and who seeks to align his actions with the natural order of things. So the next time you find yourself feeling invincible, remember the words of the ancient philosophers. Remember that the greatest wealth is a poverty of desires, for it is in our wants and cravings that true vulnerability lies. Embrace the truth that even the mightiest among us have their kryptonite moments, and that true strength comes from acknowledging our limitations and striving to live in harmony with the natural order of things. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you to live with humility and wisdom, and who remind you that true invincibility lies not in a delusion of grandeur, but in a deep understanding of our place in the cosmic web of existence. 8. Happiness is directly correlated with my bank account balance, right? I'll be happy when I have X amount of money. It's a seductive notion, isn't it? The idea that if we just accumulate enough wealth, we'll be able to buy our way into a state of perpetual bliss and contentment. But let's be real here, my friend. Money may be able to rent us a pretty nice vacation spot, but true happiness, that's a commodity that can't be purchased, no matter how deep our pockets may be. We've all been there, haven't we? Chasing after that elusive dollar figure, convinced that once we reach that magical number, all our worries and woes will melt away, replaced by a sense of pure, unadulterated joy. But then, when we finally achieve our financial goal, we're left with a nagging sense of emptiness, a realization that the happiness we sought was never really about the money at all. The ancient philosophers understood the folly of equating wealth with happiness. Epicurus, the renowned Greek philosopher, once said, "Wealth beyond what is natural is no more than a burden." His words remind us that true wealth lies not in the accumulation of material possessions, but in the ability to live simply and in harmony with nature. Zhuangzi, the influential Chinese philosopher, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "The wise man is he who is not carried away by the crowd, but who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude." His words are a call to embrace our individuality, to resist the temptation to follow the herd, and to chart our own course through life with wisdom and contentment. And let's not forget the wisdom of Rumi, the celebrated Persian poet and mystic, who said, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." His words remind us that true happiness comes not from external sources, but from the way we perceive and engage with the world around us. The truth is, the lie of "I'll be happy when I have X amount of money" is a symptom of a deeper issue. Our tendency to seek external sources of fulfillment rather than cultivating inner peace and contentment. The ancient sages understood that true happiness comes not from material possessions, but from a deep understanding of our place in the universe and a commitment to living in harmony with its principles. They recognized that the wise man is not one who is swayed by the opinions of the multitude, but rather one who remains steadfast in his pursuit of virtue and self-mastery. So the next time you find yourself uttering the familiar lie, "I'll be happy when I have X amount of money," remember the words of the ancient philosophers. Remember that wealth beyond what is natural is no more than a burden, and that true wealth lies in the ability to live simply and in harmony with nature. Embrace the truth that our life is what our thoughts make it. and that true happiness comes from within, not from external sources of validation or material gain. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you to live with wisdom and contentment, and who remind you that true wealth lies not in the accumulation of riches, but in the cultivation of a rich and fulfilling inner life. 9. So many options, so little motivation. Where do I even begin? I don't know where to start. It's a phrase that has echoed through the ages, a lament uttered by countless individuals standing on the precipice of a new endeavor, paralyzed by the sheer vastness of the task before them. But let's be real here, my friend. Starting may seem like the hardest part, but in reality, it's often the most straightforward step of all. After all, even the longest journeys begin with a single step, a simple act of putting one foot in front of the other and taking that first tentative stride towards your destination. And in today's world, where knowledge and information are quite literally at our fingertips, that first step has never been easier. A quick Google search or a YouTube video can provide us with the guidance and inspiration we need to take that initial leap, to break free from the shackles of inertia and set our dreams in motion. The ancient philosophers understood the importance of taking action and embracing the journey one step at a time. Heraclitus, the renowned pre-Socratic philosopher, once said, "The only constant in life is change." His words remind us that stagnation is an illusion and that true growth comes from embracing the ever-changing nature of existence. Antisthenes, the founder of the Cynic school of philosophy, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "The wise man is he who is not carried away by the crowd, but who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude." His words are a call to embrace our individuality, to resist the temptation to follow the herd, and to chart our own course through life with courage and conviction. And let's not forget the wisdom of Porphyry, the influential Neoplatonist philosopher, who said, "The greatest wealth is a poverty of desires." His words remind us that true fulfillment comes not from the accumulation of possessions, but from the cultivation of a life lived with purpose and intention, where each step is a conscious choice towards a greater goal. The truth is, the lie of "I don't know where to start" is often nothing more than a convenient excuse, a way to avoid taking that first crucial step towards our goals and aspirations. The ancient sages understood that true progress and personal growth come not from inaction, but from a willingness to embrace change and take action, even in the face of uncertainty. They recognized that the wise man is not one who is swayed by the opinions of the multitude, but rather one who remains steadfast in his pursuit of virtue and self-mastery, taking each step as it comes and trusting in the journey. So, the next time you find yourself uttering the familiar lie, "I don't know where to start," remember the words of the ancient philosophers. Remember that the only constant in life is change, and that true growth comes from embracing that change, one step at a time. Embrace the truth that the greatest wealth lies not in the accumulation of possessions, but in the cultivation of a life lived with purpose and intention, where each step is a conscious choice towards a greater goal. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you to take action and embrace the journey, and who remind you that the first step is often the most important, for it sets the course for all that follows. 10. Why worry about tomorrow when I can indulge in the here and now? Tomorrow can fend for itself. The siren song of procrastination, that seductive whisper that lures us away from our responsibilities and into the comforting embrace of instant gratification. Carpe diem, it croons, beckoning us to seize the day and indulge in the pleasures of the present moment, But in reality, it's more like carpe, I'll deal with it later, a dangerous mantra that threatens to derail our future plans and ambitions. We've all been there, haven't we? Lounging on the couch, remote in hand, as the hours slip away, lost in the endless abyss of Netflix or some other digital distraction. Who needs a future when you've got this, we think to ourselves, convincing our minds that the present moment is all that matters, that the consequences of our inaction can be dealt with another day. But let's be real here, my friend. The present is fleeting, a mere blip in the grand tapestry of our lives, and if we're not careful, we'll blink and find ourselves lost in a sea of missed opportunities and unfulfilled dreams. The ancient philosophers understood the importance of living in the present while still keeping an eye on the future. Zeno of Elea, the renowned pre-Socratic philosopher, once said, "Well-being is attained by little and little, and nevertheless is no little thing itself." His words remind us that true progress comes not from grand gestures, but from consistent, incremental effort in the present moment. Pyrrho, the founder of Pyrrhonism, echoed this sentiment when he wrote, "If you want to be a writer, write." His words are a call to action, a reminder that our dreams and aspirations are not mere fantasies, but tangible goals that require us to take the first step, and then the next, and the next, without falling prey to the allure of endless procrastination. And let's not forget the wisdom of Hypatia, the brilliant mathematician and philosopher of ancient Alexandria, who said, "The wise man is he who is not carried away by the crowd, but who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude." Her words remind us to embrace our individuality, to resist the temptation to follow the herd, and to chart our own course through life with purpose and intention. The truth is, the lie of the present is more important than the future is a dangerous one, for it breeds complacency and a false sense of security. It lulls us into a state of inaction, convincing us that the fleeting pleasures of the moment are more important than the long-term goals and aspirations that truly matter. The ancient sages understood that true fulfillment comes from striking a balance between living in the present and planning for the future. They recognized that the wise man is not one who is swayed by the opinions of the multitude, but rather one who remains steadfast in his pursuit of virtue and self-mastery, taking each step as it comes, while still keeping an eye on the horizon. So the next time you find yourself uttering the familiar lie, "The present is more important than the future," remember the words of the ancient philosophers. Remember that well-being is attained by little and little, and that true progress comes from taking action in the present moment, one step at a time. Embrace the truth that the wise man is he who remains unmoved by the opinions of the multitude, and who charts his own course through life with purpose and intention. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you to live in the present while still keeping an eye on the future, and who remind you that true fulfillment comes from striking a balance between seizing the day and planning for the days to come.